No. Yeah, just like it smells like there's
Oh yeah. I guess I would just walk down. Yeah.
Step in the ring, it's time to play. Coach Renee and Matt lead the way. Radical MMA brings the heat. The martial culture podcast can't be beat. Punches fly, minds collide. Technique and heart side by side. Tune in now, don't hesitate. The martial culture podcast, great and straight.
Yeah, we're here.
They're like solo. They don't work great, but they work some.
A special episode of Martial Culture live from Radical MMA.
Live from Radical MMA.
Well, not live,
Because,
but
yeah.
live taped.
Tape from Radical.
We're here. If you can find us right now, come on down.
Yeah.
But we're
Be
only
on
here.
the show.
By the time this is up, we're not here anymore. But
So,
still come to Radical. Hi.
This is our very first podcast we did here.
We did. And I had to carry, I didn't know what I was doing back then. So like right now, that little device right now is recording everything.
Mhm.
It's like this big.
Mhm.
And back then I would bring something that was probably this big.
Yeah.
And then
it had all
like,
these
I had
gizmos and dials
a
on it.
big
Yeah.
duffel bag full of garbage, and because I didn't know what I was doing. And now I've learned over the years. We've been doing this for years.
Years.
2017, I think we did our first one.
Yeah. Maybe before that. No, 17. You're right. 17.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Oh
crazy.
my God. Took some breaks though. Took
Yeah,
some breaks,
sure.
right? You know, pandemic
Life
put
happens.
a crimp on everything.
Thanks, Microsoft. Wasn't he in charge? Didn't he make the virus? Bill Gates.
You know, let's
Melinda?
not spread
No.
even more conspiracy theories, even as a joke.
So
So no, it's great to be here. Excuse me. Couple big news issue that everybody's talking about is Rampage Jackson's son.
what happened?
You didn't see the video?
No. Yes, I
Holy
just read the article. I didn't see the video.
Holy crap. It is brutal. So Rampage Jackson's son is an MMA fighter. He's won an amateur, but he actually has one pro fight, which he lost. He's I wouldn't say he's nothing like his dad in terms of skill, right? Or genetics, but he's tough, right? And he dabbled in professional wrestling too. And this is more than just this issue. We talked about the pro wrestling origins, how MMA and pro wrestling were very, very closely entwined in a lot of ways. But a lot of times that pro wrestling was real, it wasn't fake.
Mhm.
Or sometimes it was fake and then it became real, but this was true, complete fake pro wrestling. But he was supposed to wrestle this guy, Psycho Stu. Stuart, I think his name is Smith, right?
Good thing he changed it.
I know, right?
Not very scary. Smith.
And this is what happened. I'm not going to say the background. I'm going to say what happened. They were supposed to do a work for people to know is a fake fight, and they're supposed to have a script. But Rampage Jackson went completely off script, turned into a fight, picked him up, massive body slam. I mean, right on his head, spiking, a move that is even illegal in MMA. You're not allowed to throw people on their head, although it's selectively enforced, right? Then the unconscious guy, he punched him as hard as he could, full on fight 12 times to someone unconscious, and is beating him down within an inch of his life. And two guys had to jump on him and pull him off. And then he got into a fight with one of the guys jumping off. That guy was much bigger and was well trained. So then they restrained him. And it looks like Raja Jackson, which is his name, Rampage's son, is going to face some very prison time. He was, I believe, arrested. And I am not condoning what he did at all. Absolutely not. But I want to give a little context And why this is an issue. First of all, and I'm not condoning what he did. The world of pro wrestling is weird because it's fake, but for a long time they used to pretend it was real, and then sometimes they have shoots, not works, meaning real fights. Um, there's a guy now, Jake Shannon, who I really respect, where he's trying to make a resurgence in 100% real pro wrestling here in America, and they have this thing. It's online. It's the shoot series from Scientific Wrestling. It's basically submission grappling, but at least it's like um the rules are different from jiu-jitsu, that you can't do guard. It's basically if you get your shoulders pinned, you lose. But it's sort of more the pro wrestling rule system, but again for pros, and it's not fake. So good for them. Great, real, totally real. But as I said, we all know that professional wrestling is much more a show and fake, right? So it's definitely not something you should think of as real, aside from their athletic, like their ability as performers. Well, obviously, as a performers, that's impressive what some of them can do, but they're not fighters. And the reason is this world is very weird because they trade in a lot of concepts of toughness, and yet they don't actually fight. This is one reason I personally hate professional wrestling. Like, I really don't like it because they trade on these concepts of like, I'm a tough guy, I'm this, and that, and kind of like sometimes our worst impulses. and then it's all show. It's no real. To me, what MMA was in the beginning was, and to some extent now, a little bit, it's real. It's 100%. We're really fighting. Man, you could talk all you want, but that talk stops in the octagon. I mean, the best example of that is Khabib beating down Conor McGregor. It's like, who's talking now? Who's talking now? I love that one. Who's talking now? And but that border has always been like, I think for purposes of selling pro wrestling, particularly when I was a kid, that border between reality and fiction was kind of weird. And then there was that thing in the 90s, which I'm not really so well known about it, but basically they would like they made it like fourth wall kind of break. Like they made it kind of real but kind of fake, especially in the drama. They were integrating like real actual things and events, and I don't really know, but it's like not the kayfabe or something, some weird term where it's like kind of fake but not fake. It's like there's still drama, they still don't like each other. So there was this weird hybrid of reality and fiction, which is, I think, personally very destructive. What happened? Let me give you the background. What happened? So Psycho Stu attacked, and he attacked Rampage son, Raja Jackson, in the back room and smashed a beer can on his head. And Jackson was notably pissed. But then supposedly they're like, he's like, I thought this was part of the performance. And Jackson was like, oh, okay. And they kind of shook it out. But there is a promoter involved, the person who saved Raja Jackson. I would say saved the Psycho Stu from Raja Jackson. He said that the promoter was at fault because the promoter was egging on a level of almost reality. It made me really trying to get a good beef between them, for somewhat entertainment purposes or nefarious purposes. Nobody knows, but he had some influence behind the scenes where he was trying to push them. And then supposedly, this is not confirmed, but supposedly he said, yeah, like, go get your revenge in the ring, meaning it's a shoot now. That's what Raja Jackson interpreted. I'm not condoning what he did, but you're dealing with a place where, is it fake? Is it real? Is it fake? Is it real? Well, mistakes are going to happen, particularly, the MMA world and the pro wrestling world, when they intersect, like, it's very easy to turn something fake into something really real right away. And historically, there's one of the most major fights that in Japanese history, in the professional fighting world, is this fight from the 1950s against, do you know who Kimura is?
Sounds familiar.
So Kimura is this famous judo guy. His name is Kimura Masahiko. In Japan, they say there are judo players before Kimura and nobody was equal, and there's judo players after Kimura, and nobody is equal.
Hmm.
Kimura is like a once in a lifetime Michael Jordan
Wow.
of judo. And Kimura is well known in jiu-jitsu. Have you ever heard of the Kimura lock?
Yeah.
Who do you think that's named after? Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Like, exactly, right? Right. Because he was so good at it. And he fought judo, is an unbelievable record of judo.
Yeah.
Then he tried to create this pro judo league, right? But didn't work. It was and then he was drafted. So funny, interesting guy. He was drafted by the Japanese military in World War II, because it was a long time ago, right? And he was drafted to this like suicide unit. And
Why would they have a suicide unit?
well, that's it's Japan, the
Oh my
Tokotai and all
God.
that, right? The kamikaze, the yeah.
Shit.
But all these guys, like shock troops, that's the way it was. It's terrible. But he was drafted in this unit, and Japan is losing, and his superior officer says, "You are a treasure of our nation. We're all going to die. I'm sending you out of our battalion so you can live and help rebuild Japan." And that's the only reason he lived. And his experience was that he was very anti-war anyway. And so I really appreciate that change of heart. But he went back, and Japan was really poor. His wife got tuberculosis. He tried to do this pro judo league to make judo like a national sport, but at professional level, totally failed. So then he went into pro wrestling. And then he would have again some weird fights that were fake and real. One of his real fights is the most famous fight in the history of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, was Helio Gracie versus Kimura.
Wow.
It's great. It's amazing. I'll send you some footage. We can have some highlights of it.
Yeah.
So they fought, and it was wrestling pro wrestling rules, in the sense of grappling rules. It was no striking, and they both wore gis, but everything was in. And Kimura was quite a bit bigger than Helio, and beat the snot out of him. I mean, he pillar to post wrecked him. But
Wow.
he had said before the fight that it would be a moral victory if Helio could last like 5-10 minutes, right? Or something like that, right? I forget exactly, but something like a certain amount of minutes, right? And Helio wound up lasting like 14-15 minutes.
Wow.
And then, that being said, Helio did admit that halfway through the fight, like 3 times, he got choked unconscious. And then Kimura, being a gentleman, great guy, goes, "Hey, dude, are you okay?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, my friend." And he loosened up, and they just kept fighting,
Oh.
right? So Helio admits this. He got choked out like 3 times or a couple times, right?
Oh, wow.
He's like, that guy was like, his pressure was insane. Finally, he finishes Helio with a Kimura. Helio refused to tap, which he should not do, and his arm shattered, and then his brother threw the towel.
Oh.
And since that moment on, that Kimura is known, that move is known as the Kimura. It's actually Ude Garami, bent arm lock in Japanese, but basically everybody calls it Kimura now, particularly in the jiu-jitsu world.
Wow.
Right? And he was amazing. And he went on and fought. He actually had an MMA fight, a full-on MMA fight. Didn't do that great, which again goes back to how judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu are different, because he had no real striking knowledge. Although he did do some karate as a kid, but with Masoyama, he did some striking and some karate, but he didn't really have like a really deep understanding of it, and he didn't have a deep understanding of grappling with strikes. So he actually that MMA fight did not go great for him. I believe it was a draw. I have to check. I believe it was a draw, but it was like he writes I remember in his memoirs, he writes it was like just grueling. It was like terrible, right? It was like I didn't really know what to do. The guy kept headbutting me, and like when I'm trying to do this, and then I try to do this, and he hit me and kicked me, and I'm like, whoa. And then I think finally it was a draw, but he took a lot of damage. So he's like, "I'm done with MMA."
Oh my God.
So then there's this famous pro wrestler named Riki Dozan. People don't understand, but when you say Riki Dozan to Japanese people my age or older, it's like saying, I don't know, George Washington. Like, it's like just something that everybody in the entire country knows. They've heard this name. He's basically the guy post-war who created Japanese pro wrestling as a huge spectator sport. But he was kind of a douchebag.
Oh.
He was a bad dude.
Hmm.
And he hated Kimura. And they were having this fight, and it was supposed to be fake. It was supposed to be fake. 100%. Right? Guess what? Riki Dozan is like, I'm going to turn this real. And they're doing a fake, and then suddenly, and I'll send you the videos, this, he starts karate chop, hammer chopping his neck and this and that, and he starts beating Kimura up with strikes. And Kimura's like, what the hell? And he started beating, and he beat him into the hospital.
Huh.
But Japanese people were so pissed because Kimura's a national hero. And they're like, dude, you cheated.
Yeah.
So the Yakuza killed Riki Dozan.
Are you kidding me?
No,
Holy
they
cow.
killed him. I don't have proof that the Yakuza, like, we don't know who did it, but he was
We know
killed
who
right
did
away.
it.
And we all, that's basically what happened, right? The Yakuza murdered him because he, basically did a really bad thing.
Is this a movie? They've
You know,
had to make a
there's
movie.
a documentary on it.
Ah,
But
no,
I
we
don't
need a
know.
movie.
Yeah, I know, right? So that is an example of the two borders flipping and the dangerousness of pretend,
Mm.
right? And this is kind of a thing I'm going to get to. The danger of like, oh, are we faking it or are we doing real? No, like there's no question. We all know what happens when Big John McCarthy or any of the other refs go, let's go, get it on. We both know we're coming to fight,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everybody knows what's going to happen. There's no, hey, I'm not going to protect myself. So, but when you're in these like performative type roles,
You really got to trust the other guy.
you have to trust the other guy. I mean, you have to trust it. So this is one of the reasons why performative, like I really hate pro wrestling. I told you, like it's just the thing with me. I just don't enjoy it a lot. I know a lot of people are fans of it, but to me, it's like you sell this bill of goods of masculinity or toughness or this that, except you're not really showing up to prove it in something that's real. Yes, you are great performers, but you know what? Baryshnikov is a great performer. Jackie Chan's a great performer. Nobody says Jackie Chan's going to be like, the next UFC champion. He doesn't even say that, right? They're performers. Great. We respect you, but that's not fighting. That's not fighting. But and Jackie Chan is a great example. The guy doesn't get all masculine. I'm a tough guy. Nothing like that, right? So that's one. I'm going to give you one other example. Okay. Who's the most famous boxer pretty much to ever live in our lifetime?
Evander Holyfield. Mike Tyson.
Okay, a little earlier.
Oh, Sugar Ray Leonard.
A little earlier.
Usain Bolt. No, you tell me who it is.
Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
Yes,
Well,
okay.
I know him by Cassius Clay. So.
Yes, yeah. Okay, yes. Muhammad Ali. I think he's like, yes, you're right. I mean, all those other types.
He's probably the most well-known universally, like George Washington.
Yes. Like,
but not to me, apparently.
No, don't worry about it, right? So Muhammad Ali, the same thing happened to him.
Oh, in Japan.
In Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this in another podcast. So he was supposed to have a pro wrestling match with this guy, Antonio Inoki. And Inoki was a wrestler, and it was supposed to be fake. There was supposed to be a whole script and this and that. And Inoki's like, F you, we're going to fight. And the Japanese people were like, okay. And Ali actually had an MMA fight. They don't realize, but Muhammad Ali had an MMA fight. It was a very weird fight because it is the most boring MMA fight to ever happen. It's like over an hour. I think it's like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And Inoki's like, I cannot stand and trade punches with this guy. So I'm going to fall on my back and shin kick you from the floor. But he kicked him so many times. He shattered Ali's, I think it was tibia. Getting really all these fractures through his tibia because it was like 2 hours of just getting kicked in the shin over and over again. And Ali had no idea how to defend a kick, and he wasn't even ready. He never trained. He was like, "Oh, we're doing a fake fight. Yeah. We're gonna have this," and then that affected Ali's footwork forever. That's one of the reasons why he stopped dancing, because his leg was completely messed up.
Yeah.
And it is literally the most boring fight ever. Inoki's on his back kicking, and Ali's standing up trying to punch. He's like, come up here. And he's like, no, you come down here. No, you come up here. No, you come down here. Right. But again, what are the consequences of that? The consequence was Ali had very serious leg damage that haunted him for the rest of his career, and probably eventually contributed to more brain trauma because he couldn't do footwork and things like that. And it was a douchebag thing because it was like supposed to be fake, and then suddenly it became real.
Yeah.
Again, like this happened over and over again. And the problem with pretend is exactly that. You don't get anything out of pretend. And this is even true. Like I hate this. It's like it's not pro wrestling, but people who are pretend fighters. I knew this one guy, and the first time I talked to him, this is years ago, and he was a kung fu guy. He goes, "Yeah, I'm a fighter." I'm like, "Oh, well, what's your record in the cage?" "No, I don't fight in the cage." I'm like, "Oh, do you fight on the street?" "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, how many times?" "I don't know. I don't know." "You mean none?" And he was terrible. He was legitimately terrible, and he's mentally an unbalanced individual, right? And but his sole purpose of you know existence was like this weird pretend self promotion.
Mm.
Don't say do, don't pretend be, right? And this is why I viscerally dislike pro wrestling because it's just pretend. And it's you get nothing out of martial art training if you pretend to martial art train, right? Even if you don't fight, but if you train your hardest, you can get some things out. But you're not gonna like. I'll give you an example, like something like non-contact martial arts, Tai Chi forms, like the focus and discipline to do those things, or Jackie Chan to train hard gives you something, but you have to be honest with yourself, completely honest. And there's so many martial artists out there that inflate their abilities so much, and then when they're called out, they become horrible. One of the most obvious is Steven Seagal. Like, I mean, the guy's just a bully, and when you call him out, he tries to hurt you, and then he gets choked out and poops his pants. Right? Everybody knows that story, right? Gene LaBelle choked him unconscious, pooped his pants.
Yeah.
Right? Although Gene LaBelle had to say, "Oh, I don't," like because he got sued.
Allegedly.
Just Seagal sued him, right? So and tried to blacklist him. But pretend is an awful way to live. Be real, and it's dangerous because if you're a pretend guy and you bump into a real guy, this is what happens. Now, yes, I'm not condoning what Rampage Jackson did. First of all, what are you doing in a pro wrestling match? Just start training MMA. I mean, the integration of these two worlds is problematic to begin with. But the promoter was irresponsible as one the guy who saved Psycho Stu, but also Psycho Stu, like, what are you doing smashing a beer can over a guy in the backstage who you never even spoke to? Like what's up with that? Why are you doing that? Like, I don't understand. Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think so. Yeah. Right. So that being said, at no way am I rationalizing what Jackson did, but I'm saying it didn't come out of nowhere, and you're dealing with someone who, Rampage Jackson's son, but Jackson himself, the father, said his son had a terrible concussion from training. So concussions lead to, aggressive, bad behavior, things like that. Again, I'm not condoning it, but these two worlds, when they collide, there's always problem. So don't be a pretend guy. Don't be a pro wrestler, and don't be a pretend martial artist. Be real. Yeah. You're gonna be much more happy when you're authentic. Now, if your authentic self is, I'm a wimp, I can't fight, my life leads otherwise, so that's fine. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no law that says you have to be a tough guy on the street, right? But if you want to pretend to be tough, which whatever, make sure you're real, you're authentic. Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. So there's this very famous quote from someone, and he goes, I forget who it was, but you pretend to be what I am. And that always resonated. I forget, it was one of the fighters said that, but it always resonated with me. Yeah. It's like, you put in the hard work, you put in the effort, you do the road work, you do the work when nobody's watching. You are an authentic martial artist, meaning you are training all the time to hone your skills. That's authenticity.
Yeah.
right? Not pretend. Now going on Instagram with your gloves, I'm a fighter, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
You know, it's just pretend. It's
How do you
just the same thing.
how do you deal with the mental back and forth? Because like, I mean, this extends beyond fighting, like in professional careers and things like that. Sometimes the people that are best at pretending get the furthest quicker.
That's true.
And that eats people up inside. Like you could go to the gym, you can work out, you can train for years, but somebody that's good in front of a camera and has charisma and can talk is now fighting in the UFC. I mean, they're not going to last long.
Like CM Punk.
Yeah.
Right. It's a great example of a guy who had absolutely no business being in the UFC,
Yeah.
being put in because he had a huge amount of followers. And there was what's his Corey Anderson is a famous fighter. He used to fight in the UFC about 10 years ago. And he said that the reason they didn't give him a title shot was because he didn't have enough like social media presence. It wasn't going to sell. So that's a problem. But that being said, at the end of the day, it is real. So, you know, Conor McGregor can talk all he wants, but he ran into Khabib and that was it. And he talk all he wanted. He ran into Dustin Poirier. You know, like at some level, the reality hits if that's the platform we're dealing with. Yes, the fakers get up. Like, you know, it's a very good example of this is in the little bit more of the heavyweight divisions, because the heavyweight division fighters are much less technical, right? So they get pushed into, and a lot of them are lazy. Like they're lazy, legitimately don't do enough world work and this and just kind of coast on their power.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I lose, I win, I knock them out, right? They're just dumb. And then they even make it to the UFC, but they're not authentic martial artists. There are fighters because at least they're fighting. But if you're not grinding, like, what are you doing? You're just whatever, you're just a bully.
Yeah.
Right? So like these guys who don't grind, then they wind up fighting like Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall has been grinding since he was 8 years old. His dad is a famous jiu-jitsu guy. Actually, maybe earlier than 8, maybe 6. He's been grinding since he was a kid. And then his dad took him to boxing at 10, went from boxing to wrestling to this, that. He is probably the most well-rounded technician the UFC has ever seen in the heavyweight division. I'm not saying the best. I'm saying the most well-rounded, right? I don't know, but I think if he defends his title the way he intends to, which is mean like he wants to do more title defenses than anybody in history, right? Then you know there's going to be, but it's still new. But John Jones ran from him. Like he ran from him because he knows, like, I can't beat this guy anymore, right? That's a fact. He ran. He doesn't want to have anything to do with him.
Yeah.
He will get murked. And Tom Aspinall is authentic, and he moves. He moves like he's 145 pounds, except he's 260. That's crazy, right? And he's so technical because he is a grinder. He is another George St. Pierre. He's another Khabib. He's another Demetrius Johnson. He's another one of these guys that just dedicated to the craft. And you know what also to me is authenticity? Like, you ever see a fighter, and I pick on Conor McGregor, but you can see this. You ever see a fighter, and they fight 10 years ago, and then they fight now, and you're like, yeah, that's the same fighter. Like, there's no improvement. If there's no improvement, like, what have you been doing for the last 10 years?
Cocaine, probably.
Cocaine, exactly. Or you know what? Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I actually kind of like, he's a little douchey sometimes, but I know he's not bad. But it's Michael Chandler.
Michael Chandler. Yeah.
Michael Chandler watched his first fight and watched his last fight. There's not that much difference. He's like a wrestle heavy brawler. And that's what he does. And he's like,
it ain't broke, don't fix.
Yeah, I know. Well, it ain't broke. He's not winning much. Right. But I mean, he's definitely kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
But you know, like I don't understand how you can't want to improve.
Yeah.
And you want to grind and get your skills. As you know, but I guess I do understand why is when people want to say that they're something, but they don't want to put the hard work into it. You know? And yeah, you know, just to answer your question, when fake people succeed, particularly outside the realm, like I used to work in, you know, a corporate position, and you'd see people promoted who have absolutely no ability. They're just good talkers, good schmoozers, and they have connections. And yeah, of course, it's all, I'll give you an example. I mean, in graduate school, right? I was at Columbia in graduate school, and we are in this course, right? And there was this guy, and I didn't even know how he got into Columbia. He's not that, I do know he was a great talker, but there was nothing behind it. It was all marketing and show. And then we're in this group project thing, right? And he's like, I'm gonna take the lead and this and that. And then it was a disaster. And the instructor goes, you're all gonna fail unless you fix this. So like me and another person had to step up. Dude, shut up. We're take over. And then we actually had some ability to do something because me and the other person was really super knowledgeable in Japanese history and politics and stuff. And then we got the thing done. But this person was just all talk. That's you just talk like a game. But there is actually a lot of studies like that. People who talk more succeed more. Because actually human beings, we are a communicative species, so people can manipulate rhetoric and speaking to their own advantage. That's what we do. We tell stories to manipulate other people. That's what ideology is. Ideology is just a story someone made up, right? Like I believe the world should be like this. All you guys should believe with me. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they're based on the truth, but sometimes they're not. Like we're talking conspiracy theories, like QAnon, and there's millions of people believe this crazy stuff.
Right.
Some guy is laughing in his basement going, ha 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 ha, but we tell stories to manipulate people into believing what we believe or doing what we want them to do. And people who are good at communication, are good at that. And it's a challenging thing. It's also, I think, like you look at cults or something like that, when people have some sort of like they're at a point of life of tragedy or insecurity or something like that, they're very vulnerable to being manipulated. When people feel crisis, they tend to want to believe in some sort of savior ideology. Anyway, so but authenticity is where it's at. If you're authentic, I also think, like, again, when you're authentic, you know exactly who you are, what you are, why you are, then you're a little bit more impervious to other people's manipulation. Because authenticity breeds self-esteem, and then you kind of have these walls, where it's people can't touch who you are at a core level because you know who you're authentic. I'm this. And for me personally, authenticity is this. So everybody says, oh, well, you're a black belt, you're good. I'm like, I'm not good at everything. Like, right? That move right there, I'm terrible. There's this move called the Ezekiel choke. Nogi Ezekiel choke.
It sounds easy.
It is terribly, terribly difficult for me. And I've taught it to my students, and in like 2 days, they're all better than me. I'm like I'm legitimately, I have some sort of learning disability for this move. I'm like, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. But like, I know that if somebody asks me about Ezekiel, I can say, hey, I can show you it, but I'm terrible at it. And you know what? That honesty sets you free.
At least you know.
It sets you free. You don't have to pretend. Life is easier when you're not pretending to be something you're not. Right?
Yeah.
But looking yourself in the mirror and being authentic and truthful is an important human experience, but very rare for some people. And it goes into especially your sense of like masculinity. Like you want to pretend you're a tough guy and this and that, but really you're cowering in your basement. Like, so it leads to a lot of mental disease, mental pathology.
Yeah. It's interesting. Don't fake it.
Don't fake it.
They say fake it till you make it, but no, just make it.
Try and honestly evaluate and go back.
Make it till you make it.
Yeah, make it till you make it, right? Make it a little. And if you don't make it, try again. And then be honest with yourself and make it until you make it. That being said, I wouldn't say confidence. I don't believe in confidence. I believe in indomitable spirit. Meaning don't give up. So, I was very sad. I'm going to talk about this. Very sad. When people have competed and they don't get the results that they want, so they just quit. That's That's not the way. You don't get the results you want, that's okay. But don't quit, don't give up.
Yeah.
If you give up, you defined your life as a quitter. Now, if you gave your absolute all, right, and you still lost, first of all, you should hold yourself high. But if you didn't, come back the next day. Saturday night was the fight, come back Sunday. Good. In the gym, let's work, let's grind. Grinding, preparation is what makes you real commitment to your craft is what makes you authentic.
Right.
You know, and real unvarnished objective evaluation of what happened, and then being able to come back and say, okay, let's work. But like, I don't believe in confidence. I believe in indomitable spirit. Guy knocks you down, you get up. Guy knocks you down, get up. Guy knocks you down, get up. Just do not stop getting up.
Yeah.
The person who lost is the one who quit. Right? Right? You know, like, I mean, the pandemic's a good example. You know, we all got knocked down, but what are we going to just lie in our beds and whine about it? No, you got to come back and.
I did for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, really. Me too. Yeah.
I played a lot of video games.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and you know, like I'll say something on camera, but you know, we were both running businesses, and sometimes those businesses can be a little challenging, and the stress can get you when you're running a business. You know, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know, you have to just, grind.
We're still here.
Yeah.
Anything going on in the fight world with that Radical? Your team got updates every week.
Yeah. No, I mean, Devin is taking a little break because he just won, and he had his belts over there.
Yeah. Which one's his? The one in the middle?
The one in the middle, yeah.
Yeah,
and,
big boy.
And then, but he's taking a little break because he has to focus on some like job stuff.
Sure.
And like put things he put on hold. I think he said he had to repair something in his house or something. I forgot. So he's taking a little bit of break, but he'll be fighting again on October 4th.
There you go.
And it looks like he'll be fighting 3 weeks after that in October 24th. Which is pretty cool. So we have two
Busy
fights back
October.
and that's going to be one in Times Square. Yeah, because it's really cool to fight in time. We talked about
That's
it, right?
cool.
So we'll see. That's not 100%. The 4th is done. That's set. The 24th we'll see. But if it looks like it'll be cool.
Wow.
And then everybody else, we had our team guys compete in a tournament last weekend. And wow, I'm so proud of everybody. Well, results weren't exactly what I wanted. I mean, I was expecting everybody to come back gold, because they really believe in them and they're amazing. But experience matters. And one of my students gave up. She fought someone over 20 pounds heavier, and it was a difficult fight. It was a difficult fight. So, what we're gonna do is grind. We're gonna retool. Hey, this is what we need to work on.
Mhm.
Let's rock and roll and exactly be authentic. Now, we'll learn from this. You do not lose if you learn and you don't quit.
Yeah.
But if you do something and get your butt whooped, that's okay. Come back and be better. And I don't understand people who give up. I mean, I understand fear, but everything in life is on the other side of fear. And everything good in life stems from authenticity, not lying, not pretending, And the martial arts teaches that you can talk all you want, but when you're facing mano a mano to another person in front of you and they're hell-bent on killing you, you're going to know right then and there what you're made of.
Right.
Right? Are you going to fold or are you going to buck up? Right? And I'll be honest with you. This is hard for me to say, but there are times in training where I've got so freaked out as a white belt, and even a little bit, like I got so freaked out that I just panic quit. I broke. That's what we call it. I broke. Right? Right? I'll be honest. That happened to me where you just like, and you just tap. Right? And you give up.
Yeah.
And you could have fought on, but you quit. And you had more in you, but you quit because you panicked. It's a hard lesson. It's a real hard lesson. But that you got to look honestly in your mirror and say, yep, you quit yesterday. It's okay. Tomorrow I'm not.
Yeah.
And you just got to go back in. You got to go back in and you got to do it. What you do is it's like exposure therapy. Anything that scares you, you should do at a little bit and then a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more, and kind of give yourself antibodies to that fear and then build, right? And we do that in training. Like, okay, we're start pin and side control, 10% resistance. Okay, you got that. Okay, now 20% resistance. Okay, 30. Okay, now we're at 100. Let's go. Oh, this sucks.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but we can do it. We can deal, right?
That's how you eat an elephant.
That's how you need to open.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was the big news this week. And yeah, like I said, Radical, we're just retooling. But and we're starting teaching this September, so we're starting teaching a new curriculum because each month we have one monthly curriculum. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to showing everybody that some inner moves that are just my own.
Oh,
Yeah, so a little bit here and there, so it'd be fun. And that's basically it. Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah, man. Short and sweet.
short and sweet.
Love it. All right, man. See you next week.
See you next week.
We're signing off, the fight is done.
You're a pro.
Lessons learned and battles won. The journey's long, but we've begun. Stay strong, stay sharp forever. The warrior's path is never through. Keep training hard and breaking through. Discipline's the bond we hold true. Martial culture, it's all in you. So until next time, keep the